Now, can I say, we are about to have a vote in this House on these issues. The vote in this House will either go through unanimously or will be the first time that a vote of this nature has been done on partisan lines. This has been deliberately drafted to take into account the arguments that have been made by government members that we don't agree with. It has been deliberately drafted at the request of the member for Mayo to include the member for Mayo, even though we do not agree with the arguments the government has put against the member for Mayo. And it has also been drafted quite deliberately to make sure that the members who put on their register references to documents but then refuse to actually disclose them, to say, well, this was a process of disclosure. That's what it was. This was a process of disclosure. We could have had a situation where we only had self-referrals, but in the week gone past, both the Leader of the House and the Prime Minister have made clear that there were going to be hostile referrals. We could play the game for tit for tat on that. We could play it that way, but we won't. And what we are doing here is referring all the members over whom there has been a serious and continued doubt. We are making sure that the process of disclosure that we unanimously voted for is actually followed up. Because if you go through a process of disclosure and you fail to disclose, there should be a follow-up. There should be a follow-up. And if the follow-up is to say, rushing around now with member after member trying to personally lobby the crossbench saying, oh, but here's an extra detail, every detail they're now wanting to refer to are the details they hid from the register. And 9 o'clock yesterday was the deadline for that register. If this is defeated along partisan lines, does anyone really think that this issue is going to go away for the rest of this term? Does anyone really think the cloud that is hanging over the legitimacy of this parliament will go away because the government managed to get the numbers on the day? What we need to do as a parliament today is actually have a resolution that I can tell you no one in the parliament is completely happy with. I'm certainly not, because there are names there where I am absolutely confident of their position. And there are names here where those opposite are absolutely confident of their position. But the list of names we have here is the only way to be able to broker something so that the High Court gets to make the decisions that only the High Court of Australia can make. We've been through a world of people in this House telling us they knew what the High Court would decide. I don't know what the High Court will decide on these, but I do know this is the only sensible outcome of a disclosure process. I would have liked this to have been negotiated between the opposition and the government, and we've sought to have those conversations. But the Prime Minister today, as I understand it, in a meeting with the crossbench, made clear that he would support no further referrals of his own people, even though they had failed to provide the information they'd referred to on their disclosure statements. Well, if that's the situation, there are only two pathways in front of us. Either we support this resolution or the cloud that is currently over the parliament will continue to be there.